41,
Page
yes.
141.
Hi, I'm Robert Fitzpatrick. My question is, with teacher shortages, substitute shortages, bus driver shortages, the greatest teacher exodus in the wake of the pandemic, what are you going to do to ensure that we're able to fulfill these positions? We're already one of the lowest paying counties in the entire state, as you know, and we have all these vacancies, and then you're going to do consolidation. I'm not a math major. 2 and 2 is 4, and some don't add up for me.
So my first question, sir, if I may,
Sure,
is
shoot.
is that your son?
Yeah, this is my son, Bobby Fitzpatrick. Right here. This is number 4.
Bobby?
Yeah.
So I want to know, is Bobby sitting through this meeting as a reward or a punishment?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
I like to set a good example for my son and show him how you treat him.
All right.
Absolutely.
Well, welcome, Bobby.
Yep.
So I think it was Steve, when he did his part of the presentation, and we
Sure.
talked about the savings. One of the things Steve said, and I think it's critical, whether you're talking about, teachers, additional programs, sports, whatever you wanted to mention, said that we are identifying the money that could be saved if you create a regional district. But the district might elect to take some of that money and not have it as tax savings, but invest it in the districts. So the new Board of Education would have an opportunity to increase teacher salaries if it chose, to create some of the programs that we talked about.
Okay. So hypothetically, what you're saying is
Yes, sir.
the savings that are being presented to the taxpayers wouldn't necessarily be savings, because they might have to incentivize these staff members to actually come to Salem County and retain the staff members that are here, because you're going to open up a new negotiation, correct?
Right, so there are two paths,
Yes.
and they're not necessarily diametrically opposed. So there's one
Sure.
that could make decisions that would increase the amount of savings, and there is one that might take some of the savings and spend it. And of course, if the Board of Education chose to do two things, there still could be the $6.8 million in savings. But your point about teacher salaries is an excellent one. We didn't make any assumptions as to what the new board would do, but it would have an opportunity that a lot of the smaller districts don't have right now, which is to do what you need to do in order to attract and retain teachers.
Right, and one of our recommendations was for the new countywide unified district to establish a talent office. And a lot of the more successful districts are very aggressive in going out and finding talent on numerous recruiting websites, fairs, and things like that. Smaller schools and districts sometimes just don't have that capacity. It all falls. We had Elsinborough's superintendent, principal, vice principal, and all the way down the line here.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for one person to do all those roles and engage in aggressive recruiting to find that talent. So your point's a good one, and it's something that we did think through, and that's one of the recommendations we thought of. But yeah, it is an issue, and it's getting more difficult,
I
without
think
a
it's a
doubt.
huge issue, and we don't have the influx, say, that Newark had. Does Newark have that talent agency to be able to recruit talent?
Yeah, a lot of the larger districts
Yeah,
have
so-
an office that just focuses on going out, and it's just not a matter of putting it out on the web and seeing who applies. You actually have to go out and find the talent and say, here's why you want to teach
And these
in
are
my
the
school.
salaries, and this is the job security,
Yeah,
so on
excellent,
and so forth.
excellent.
Only Newark had $200 million additional to be able to do that. And what do them results look like? And that's my concern. That's my concern, because we saw an influx in Newark. We had the Zuckerbergs put in $100 million, another $100 million to match it, and we saw what that looked like. And we saw when we had different things consolidated in the Newark school district, which is much larger, has that talent agency. Exactly my point. And we've seen the hiccups and the obstacles with that kind of money, $200 million, not $6 million that's not guaranteed, $200 million. And we see what them results look like. And that's my concern. That's my concern for Salem County. You're talking about $6.5 million hypothetically. But when we were in Newark and we had $200 million, we couldn't guarantee the results, because we still see what Newark looks like. Okay? And that's North Jersey, and it's got the talent that you're talking about to be able to go out and acquire and give all the incentives that we don't have guaranteed built into the process with $6 million. With $200 million, you had it, and you still couldn't get there. Was anybody up here involved in the Newark school district? Was anybody paid a salary or paid any portion to work on the Newark school district?
Well, it was a state-operated district, and as
Yeah.
commissioner, of course, that was a
Absolutely.
district I worked heavily in, and,
Yeah.
yeah, but that was years ago.
Yeah,
But
but
your point
I'm
now, I
looking
think,
at
is
the
equally
answer.
important.
Yeah.
How do you find talent, and how can you pay for the talent? And with substitute teachers now, in some parts of the state, making $250 a day
As
or
substitute
more,
teachers.
it's a really good question, and that's one of the recommendations we made. Is that going to be enough? That's going to have to be something made at that moment by the new board. But it's a great question.
Yeah, but I'm saying these are all hypotheticals 5 years from now, and we're not dealing in the now. And we have the teacher shortage now, we have the pandemic now. A lot of your study numbers are prior to that, and we're dealing with in the now. So when I don't have teachers and we're doing massive coverages and people are walking away like they've never walked away from the profession before, okay, these kids need the consistency in this county. And when we can't guarantee to the taxpayers that we're going to deliver on them savings, and then simultaneously, you know what I mean, we're not going to be able to go out and get that acquisition talent that we need in Salem County. And then to your point, you know, corporations aren't flooding into Salem County because it's not being incentivized. I mean, heaven forbid, instead of doing studies, they actually brought in, you know, some corporations to pay their fair share down here and kick in on some of this stuff. That's a tough pill to swallow, and from what I've heard, I have to tell you to your face, I couldn't possibly support it, and I'll be working against it. My name is Robert Fitzpatrick. I appreciate your time. I appreciate your candid. Okay, this is my son, Robert Fitzpatrick. He had to come here as dad. Okay, but simultaneously, I tell you straight up, just from the report alone, there's nothing that gives me peace of mind that you're going to be able to deliver for these kids. And I have the job of walking in and looking each and every one of them in the eyes because I'm here in Salem County doing this job. And with all due respect, you guys are going to go back up to North Jersey and you're going to deal with Newark and everybody else that has an influx of money and the ability to draw talent. You're able to go into those pools out of New York and recruit people down. And we're not going to have that in Salem County. What we're going to have is teachers covering 3-4 classes, burning out and walking away from the profession. And it's going to be my job as the vice president of the union to work to keep the talent here in Salem County. So that's, I'm going to do my job. And, you know, I welcome you guys to continue doing yours, but I'd like you to, you know, do a great job as far as working to make Salem County better. I don't know that consolidation is the route. In my heart, I don't think it is. Thank you for your time.